Hello and welcome to Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week, where this year we are marking 10 years of the Awareness Week with our theme, A Decade of Voices. My name is Eve Canavan. I'm one of the co-founders of the week. And for today's information session, I'm really happy to be joined by our friend Amy from the wonderful organisation Bright Beginnings, who are based in Guernsey. Hello, you.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm okay. Slightly
Good.
nervous, but we're working through it.
Don't be. I say don't be, but nerves are good. We're working through it, and you're in good hands. And I think these lovely sessions that we run, so people at home can connect with them and put a face to a service, particularly if people are feeling a bit nervous about going along to a provider to get some support. These kind of sessions are really good to introduce people to the support that's available in their local area. So yeah, we'll go through the good work that you do today, and I'm so grateful that you're part of the Awareness Week this year.
Oh, we're really happy to be here.
Lovely, lovely. Right, so before we go on and talk about the great work that Bright Beginnings does, just the usual information disclaimer at the beginning. So this session between Amy and I is purely for information purposes. Anything that we talk about in relation to perinatal mental health should not replace any information or guidance that you get from your own healthcare provider. And with that, let's go into a chat about what you do. So Amy, let me hand over to you. Who are you? What's your organisation and what do you do?
Okay, so I am part of Bright Beginnings. We are a children's centre based in Guernsey. We have just celebrated our ninth birthday, so we've just tipped.
Yay!
Yep. So it's all exciting. It's tipping into that 10th year of service, and just thinking, wow, like you've got your campaign for a decade of voices and the 10 years you've been around. We have been around in a similar sort of time frame. So yeah, all very exciting. When we opened as a children's centre, um, we knew that that came with a massive responsibility for supporting parents' mental health and well-being, and that with the statistic being sort of 1 in 4 mums and 1 in 10 dads that are going to experience some sort of perinatal mental health condition, we said we can't welcome families into a centre without knowing what provision is on offer and how we can support the mental health and well-being. So a couple of years after we'd opened, we formed our Beyond Blue service, which is an extension of the work that we do at Bright Beginnings, which is our perinatal mental health support service. With that, we liaised really closely with Ruth Jackson from Bluebell Care. Uh,
Oh, Bruce! She used
yeah,
to be part of the partnership. She is one of the nicest women I've ever met in my entire life. So I just say because, and she is someone who's willing to give her expertise out to people. And sorry, I just if
no,
she's just wonderful. She's just wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, she was absolutely like amazing and so fundamental. So when I was researching what we need to put on and how we can do this really important area of work justice, and I think we know the sensitivity that comes with supporting mums with their perinatal mental health, and the importance of that then attachment and how that interacts with the child, and all of the significance. So I was researching and looking around, and Bluebell just kept coming up over and over. So I'd reached out to Ruth and sort of said, like, this is what we're doing, please, help. And she was fantastic. And we had a couple of like video calls, and then we were doing some training in Bath as part of the trauma recovery, the TRC, and we went and we were doing some training, so we had to go via Bristol. So we went and saw their hub in the centre of Bristol, and met with her, and she basically just said, this is what we do, this is our model, take from it whatever you kind of want to, but we've got some tried and tested programs, and that was sort of where we went, and then it's 8 years later, this is where we still are.
Oh, how gorgeous is that? And so, yeah, I thank God Ruth a bit then because I think in this space where we're supporting families, and as someone with lived experience, and Ruth had lived experience, which is why she created Bluebell, one of the greatest things we can do is share knowledge to inform and support. And I think like that it is this lovely thing. And we know people at home are watching who, after having a baby, can be the most vulnerable time of your life. As you said, there are some stats that are just horrifying in the sense that so many people experience perinatal mental illness. And then the stats about in the first year after birth, maternal suicide rates can be so incredibly high. And I think when we have passionate people behind organisations that are built to help families, when they share their knowledge with each other of what works, and they are passing that knowledge along so other families are able to experience recovery and get support as well, it is something really beautiful, and I think it's so nice to be able to recognize that where you talk about a service and what you're offering, but also how it was built. And I think that kind of story of how it was built with the passion, the knowledge, the insight, the information, the taking from other people about what works and what didn't has created what you've got today. And for us, for the Awareness Week, where the theme is the Decade of Voices, it was built on lived experience. And knowing that services like yours, who are helping people who are going through that kind of experience at the moment and have built it with the support of others, to me, is exactly how we should be doing things. And I think that kind of collaborative working just shows how much and how important your work is to supporting families, that you go out and say, yeah, what's working, what's not. And as someone who was so poorly a few years ago, it makes me feel so lovely to hear when organisations are supporting each other and the work that they do. It makes you feel like the work you do for families, that we're important to what you do. So I think that's lovely.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have to say, it is one of the areas I think everyone that works within supporting people with their perinatal mental health is working with the same agenda. They want to help families, they want to support people. It is the most, from the things I see on like social media, it is the one where everyone is really championing for each other. And whatever contribution services and people are making within this area, it is it is way more supportive than any other sort of topic that I see, and it doesn't feel like it's competitive. It just feels everyone is really championing because we've all got the same care at heart, and we all want what's best for the families, and we want people to be able to recover and thrive and enjoy parenthood, like get to the place where you can come out the other side of everything that's scary and everything that's completely life changing and overwhelming, but grow from it and recover from it, and and come out with your lived experience there, and it will have altered you, and there will be things that have that you've changed as a person from, but then things that can also sometimes then change you for the better in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And you grow. And I think what's so great in this space as well is that there are experts by experience, the people that have been through it who are now contributing to services, and their stories are helping services grow. So I think you are absolutely right. And it really, I find it so lovely. And I'm so pleased we've been able to give you a platform to highlight the work that you're doing at Bright Beginnings. And so with that, I wanted to delve into a bit of the support services that you've talked about, a little bit more. So what kind of things, what services do you offer? What support do you offer to families who are navigating perinatal mental illness at the moment in Guernsey?
Okay, so I think first of all, so Guernsey is quite unique
Yeah.
because we are a small island. We're part of the Channel Islands. We are a very small island, and we have a lot of people that come to the island, relocation for work, various different reasons. So with that, there's a lot of isolation, and you lose your support network. Like I've got 3 children, and we moved here when my daughter was 5 months old, and I had completely underestimated how hard it was to move away from your support network with a baby. I think because she wasn't my first, there was that bit of naivety, like it's okay, I know how to raise a baby. um, and then I'd realise, oh, yeah, but I didn't do all this by myself. There was a lot of other people around me when I'd raised my sons compared to then raising my daughter, and I was like, okay, so, and that is something that a lot of people in Guernsey experience, that isolation, and especially then if you're struggling, if you have, if your journey into parenthood hasn't been the easiest and it hasn't been anywhere near how you could have planned for and expected, and you are away from your support network, that makes it 10 times worse, and it makes it even more daunting. And the other sort of challenge that we face is if we have somebody on island that needs to go, they need more extensive care, they might need to go to a mother and baby unit or anything like that. We don't have a mother and baby unit here. So they then have to go to the UK. It's also the same if you have parents whose babies are born and they're quite poorly and they need to have extended medical care and things. Then a lot of times, those families together will be taken off island and they'll be receiving care. So that could be also then families that do have roots in Guernsey. They are from Guernsey, all their support network is here. But in reverse of that, they then have to go to primarily at Southampton Hospital, but they then have to go to a hospital off island, so that their child can receive the care that they need as well. So those are some of sort of the biggest differences that we notice when supporting families within Guernsey, that isolation can come up really quite high. So as a children's centre, forming as a children's centre, that was part of that. Everyone needs a village. And we are here as a base, as a children's centre. We can draw families in, families that might not have that support network on island are able to form their own with the friendships they make, with the relationships they build with the staff at the centre. We have a cafe that is open throughout the week as well. So it's lovely if we've got a group that somebody attends. I know, say a Monday morning, we have a Blossoming Babies group where parents can attend with their babies. That's great. That becomes part of people's routine. But what happens if you really need to talk to somebody and it's 3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon and you need an adult interaction and a conversation? By having the cafe, it breaks down that barrier and it just makes it easier for somebody to come over the threshold and just be able to say, can I have a cup of tea? And sometimes, and they don't need to say more, but it's opened up a conversation, and there's staff around then that can interact with them, that can, how are you doing? Sometimes people might, that's it. You ask that loaded question of how are you? And get the, oh, don't ask me that. And other times it's just a simple, yeah, I'm okay because I'm here and I feel safe now and secure, and you've got people around you. So we have a cafe on site for that reason, and that works really well, and that helps give us a real community feel. Because when we do have the groups that take place, people can leave a group and then they can go into the cafe with other people that they've met, and those connections travel beyond the space that we hold. And they're able to then safely sit in the cafe and continue those connections and continue to get to know people. And then in terms of like actual support and groups that we do, we have a Mum's Comfort Zone group, which is a perinatal mental health support group for mums with children under a year. It's a model from Bluebell. It was run as Bluebell did as an 11-week programme, but we now roll that on a rolling basis because we kind of outgrew. We'd say it's great if somebody comes in and that, but if we're halfway through an 11-week program, what happens when somebody is referred into us, at week 5, and we wouldn't put them in until the next group? So we just have that sort of rolling on a rolling basis, so people can come in and join whatever stage they're at, and then we're not having to put people on waiting lists. And we know that by the time somebody's coming through and asking for some help and support, they've already sat with it long enough.
Yeah. And that's so important. I think that thing of when you reach out, people often say, when I've been referred off to on IAPT therapy or something, and then and huge waiting list, people say, but I just need something now. Like, I just need something now. And I think you're completely right.
Yeah. We try to, we are really passionate about making contact as quickly as possible. So people they just come. We have lots of things on our timetable that are universal services, that are groups for parents to attend with their children. So people will generally ask for a bit of help in one of two ways. It's either they've come into the centre and they've done the parent and baby groups, they've felt comfortable, they get to know us, that relationship is formed, and then they might say, actually, I'm struggling a little bit right now, I could do with a little bit more support. Or they've been referred to us because they need that support. So they've come from a health visitor or a midwife, or another professional, or even a self-referral. And then they've come in straight away needing some additional support. And then we work to integrate them into the universal services. So people that might find that group environment daunting and overwhelming to begin with, we offer one-to-one support. That can be through just sort of general one-to-one conversations. Teresa, the centre manager, is a trained counsellor, so it can be full counselling sessions. We also have a practitioner that works with us who offers holistic healing, so she can do sort of Reiki and energy healing and just work from people. So we try and really offer a broad spectrum amount of support, so that whichever way somebody will prefer to work with someone, we're able to offer it and support that person for what is going to be best for them. And say, so either people then come in needing the one-to-one support initially, and then it builds their confidence, their relationships with us as staff form, the safety within the centre forms, and then they will access the universal groups, which then make them feel like, yeah, this is how I thought parenting was going to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And that, like, this is, it normalizes it. Like, you want to do the things that every normal parent does.
Yeah.
And accessing the groups and doing the things that you might have dreamed of when you were on maternity leave, that you were going to do baby massage with your child and you were going to do all these other things, and then actually, if your experience has isolated you and it's been really hard and challenging and you need a lot more nurturing first to be able to then process what's happened, do some work and support around what you might be experiencing, and then gain the confidence to come into the groups. Or it can be the other way around. People come to all of the groups that are on offer because they are a bit too frightened at that moment in time to ask for some help and support. So they need to scope it out. They need to get the safety and the familiarity in place first, and then they might come forward and say, actually, I'm struggling a little bit here. Can you help?
It's that safe space that you're making, isn't it? I think it's that thing of when you're poorly and things are not in the way that you envisage them and you want them to be like how you thought it was going to be on your maternity leave. It's as if you're bringing people through that process so they don't feel alone, so they feel that they're in a safe space. So I'm thinking, if people are at home and they're watching and they're thinking, right, I'm connecting with this, I'm not feeling too great at the moment, I live in this area. How do people, because you mentioned some of your referral routes, how can people access your services? And then also, how long can people access your services for? Because that's one of the questions that we often get.
Fine. So in terms of accessing, so people can drop us a message on Facebook or Instagram. The links to our website are all there, so they can also drop an email. They can speak to the midwife or the health visitor or any other professional that they might be working with. We've got a contact form on our website as well, so they can complete the contact form. So we've got, like, we try and cover however that initial conversation comes through, whatever is going to work for that person in that moment in time. So if somebody has seen something we posted on Facebook, for example, and they're like, actually, that really resonates, just drop a message on Facebook. We'll deal with them afterwards. Phone or come in, be in the centre for something else. Like, we want to bring down as many barriers as we can and make it as easy as we can. We have got a referral form, and if somebody is coming through from a health visitor or something, we encourage them to fill out that on their behalf, because that helps us. It also, from a trauma perspective, the more information, if somebody's already shared their story with a health visitor, the more information we can gain, they don't have to reshare that story until they feel comfortable already, or if it's even relevant that we need to know that. Because we know that that's one of the things sometimes when people do open up and they start talking, they're reliving their trauma by having to talk it over and over to several different people. And that can put you off. And that becomes a barrier. And then in terms of how long we support people, we don't have timeframes. We try really hard. So if somebody is referred for counselling, they access counselling for as long as they need it. If somebody is working with us one-to-one, again, they access that for as long as they need. We're fortunate, I suppose, that being a smaller island, we are able to work in that parameter. I know that there are amazing services that exist, throughout the UK and things, and that they're in areas where they struggle with funding, or and the level of referrals that come through that really mean that the amount of sessions have to be capped at a certain number, and things. And so we're lucky that we are able to sort of push beyond that. With the Mum's Comfort Zone group, we do have that parents can access until their child is a year, but it's not set in stone. It's not like, here's your birthday, off you go. And then we have a follow-on group on a Wednesday morning, which is able to support parents when their children are aged between 1 and 3. And when their child is then over 3, that becomes a monthly drop-in group. So we really are trying to carry parents right from conception all the way through until their child goes to school.
And I think it's so nice because I think, like I say, we get people constantly saying to us, where is a service somewhere? And we'll go, oh, this is such and such. And they'll go, like, how do I get to go there? And how long can I go there for? And I think that is a feeling of anxiety while you're dealing with everything else. And I think it's really good to know that people can approach you in lots of different ways. And obviously, I'll put all this in the caption that'll be underneath this video, wherever you access it, about the different ways that you can contact Amy's team. There was a couple of things I wanted to ask you before we go, which was, one, if people are watching this and they're thinking of that they're not feeling great and they think they want to access your services, what would you say to them? And then following on from that, what's next for Bright Beginnings? Have you got anything else coming up on the horizon?
Okay. So I think the first thing we would say to people is just like that we recognize how hard it can be to reach out for support. So acknowledging sort of the fact that they've even recognized that within themselves is one of the hardest steps. Because sitting with all your feelings, and I think especially if you're a first time parent, you've got no basis of comparison. You don't know how you're feeling, whether it is normal, not normal. You've got a lot of confusion. So I think the first thing is we just sort of say to people, it's okay. Like, we're going to support you. How you're feeling right now isn't how you're always going to be feeling. And that we fully see and understand how scary where you are right now might be.
Absolutely. It's that reassuring ear, which when you're feeling at your very worst, having someone open their arms practically and metaphorically, to you is
Oh, I'm a
the most wonderful feeling. I can remember when I came back from being in the mother and baby unit and I came back to London. I've got a children's centre just there from my house. And I had someone from an organisation who came to see me, and they used to like buddy me to my children's centre, so I wasn't on my own, and it was so lovely. And then I started to make friends with some of the ladies there, just like you're saying, and and as I was starting to get better, she kind of came away, and it was just so lovely to feel like I was in the reassuring arms of somebody who was looking after me, and also was making me feel important. So sometimes we talk so much about the baby that we do forget about we forget about the mum. And I think organisations like yours are putting the mum on the pivotal peak and enabling to support her recovery alongside her baby, which I think is so lovely. So thank you, so lovely.
I always say we nurture the parents so the parents can nurture their children, because the parents, like, you're everything your child needs you to be. Your child will be in awe of you and they love you and you are their world. So if we can be there providing the support and the care to the parent, it just opens up their capacity to be there for their child, because they are the one their child needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's so lovely. I think I've not got any more questions for you because I just think everything you've said has been so lovely. And I'm so delighted we can shine a light on the work that you do. Um, have you got anything else that you want to say about the service while we're here?
Um, no, you said what was next for us. I think one of the
Yeah.
areas is we want to improve our social media. So we are a really small team, directly linked to the Children's Centre. We're really lucky that we have got a whole team of volunteers that help and support us. We've obviously then also got people that, work in the office areas and, keep the charity running exactly as a charity. But those of us that deliver the groups and work directly with the parents, there are 5 of us, and we work out to the equivalent of 3.5 full-time members of staff.
You've got loads of people then, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
figure out how to clone us, that would be great. But I think we would really like to sort of raise our presence on social media.
Sure.
We know that, like, we support people that are in Guernsey, and that's great if you live in Guernsey. But we would also like to be able to sort of expand our reach a little bit more, but through the ways that people can connect with us on social media, and then just continue to strengthen those other sort of partnerships with professionals that we've got on the island, and and just really sort of make sure that we are everybody is working in partnership with each other, and that we've got all of those sort of strong relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the reason why these information sessions are so good is that they're a great tool for families who can see some things that are available to them in their area that they maybe didn't know about or were kind of anxious about, about kind of introducing themselves to. But also to healthcare professionals who are watching this, who might be thinking, goodness, I actually didn't know Bright Beginnings existed or the work that they did, and I'd really like to do something with them. And we know a lot of healthcare professionals watch these information sessions to get insight into what is going on in their area locally that they can refer people to. And so I think it's great that you're so open to collaborate, and say to come and do some stuff with us. I just think you're lovely, and I just can't thank you enough for being part of the Awareness Week. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us. Say it's
Oh,
special for us to be, recognised, and to be able to give them the opportunity, to talk a little bit more about what we do.
oh, good. I am so pleased. I am so pleased. As I say, in the caption underneath, I'll put all the details about Bright Beginnings and how you can be referred to them, like Amy has discussed. As I say, this will go out across all of our social media channels. We'll launch it, but it'll be there forevermore. So people can go back and rewatch this. If you think this would be helpful to take to your doctor, to show them, to say, I've listened to this on Instagram, I think I'm not feeling very well. Could you refer me to this service? Please do that. And if you're a healthcare professional who's interested in working with Bright Beginnings in some kind of way, do reach out to them as well. And with that, I want to say thank you, Amy, very much for your time.
Thank you.